Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. Hope y'all are doing good today. Thank you so much for coming in and watching the webinar. We're going to be taking some questions as we go. So there's a question and answer section that you'll be able to chime in and write your questions down. Our team is going to be moderating that. So as soon as we get to the end, we'll be able to answer some of those questions. Okay. So thank you so much. I'm Michelle Smith, and I am the CEO of All Contractor Marketing. I used to own my own HVAC business with my husband, Chris, and we have 30 years of experience together in HVAC marketing, and I am the CEO for All Contractor Marketing, which is a 20-year-old marketing agency. Of that, for the last 10 years, we've been doing distributor agency of record agreement with HVAC distributor. And we've also been working individually with other distributors across the country. And we've also been working with HVAC companies throughout the country as well. Here's today's agenda. We're going to talk about marketing foundation, the core lead channels, tracking what works, your online presence, budget planning and seasonal strategies, and then also a 30-day action plan for you to be able to work on the next month. Why most HVAC dealers feel like it's feast or famine. That's what we're going to talk about first. This is the real problem. As you know, in HVAC, it can be very, very seasonal. And with the latest weather changes, you never know sometimes what you're going to get. So it can go right up and right down. And 70% of the HVAC owners can't even tell where their last 10 jobs came from. So the key takeaway for this is if you can't measure it, you can't scale it. So it's really important to understand the underlying, like information related to your jobs so that you make sure that you can understand what you need in order to grow. So 3 symptoms that you probably recognize, great summer, dead spring, word of mouth, you've hit your ceiling, and then you can add money into marketing, but then you don't get any calls out. So those are some things that we're going to cover today so that we can make sure that you guys are doing a good job and getting the marketing and the results that you need. Next, we're going to talk about the marketing foundation, who you're really selling to and what you actually want. HVAC marketing does not have to be complicated. I know it seems like it is, but it's very important to have the right message, which is the pain that you solve for your customers. You're reaching the right person, which is your best customer, at the right time when they need it most. And you're in the right place when they search. And this is going to end up in consistently booked calls. And a lot of times, HVAC companies, they don't know exactly how to do each one of these steps correctly. And that's what we're here to do, is to guide you so that you can get in the right message with the right person at the right time and the right place. So who is your actual best customer? You may think that it's anyone who actually needs heating and air conditioning. While that is partly a good answer, you want to make sure that you're reaching the right customer. So as a homework for you guys, what you need to do is answer these 5 questions. What was the job size of your last 10 best tickets? Like, what is your best job? And you need to average those and know that answer. What are the homes that within the top 2 to 3 specific zip codes that you are producing the most revenue for? Which ones are those in the best spots that you service? Number 3, were these actual homeowners or were they landlords? And what were their ages and the length of the home, the length of the age of the home, and how long have they been in the home? Also, did they call on the first breakdown or did they shop three different quotes? And number five, what did they care about most? Was it price, speed, or do they trust the person that they've hired? This is key to knowing exactly who your best customer is because in order to fill your schedule appropriately, you want to make sure you have space for your best customer. You don't want to fill it up with all the wrong customers and not make the right profit margin. So this is really important. Please take these five questions and answer this. If you can tonight, that'd be great so that you can move on the plan over the next month. But at least take some time to pay attention to this and formulate an opinion and some facts related to this. So here are some examples, three different examples of HVAC customers themselves. So first, it's going to be type 1, the emergency. These are customers that their unit has died. They need speed and trust, but they don't really care about the price. They need cooling right now or they need heating right now. So focus on that specifically. There's 40 to 50% of the HVAC revenue. That's one type of HVAC customer. Then type 2 is the planner. This equates to about 30 to 40% of the customers out there. And these are the ones that are going to research. Hey, my system's old. It's getting time for replacement. I need to get some extra estimates, 2 to 3 estimates. Going to research online. Going to take some time to figure out who's the best fit. That is the planner. Type 3 is the maintenance club. And these are the customers that are going to take care of their systems. They know their systems work great. And they want to make sure that they sign up for annual agreements and maintenance plans. And these are your stickiest customers. And so you want to reinforce the importance of the plan and make it easy for them to renew. So you can't market to all three the exact same way. Pick your dominant customer type and then build everything around that. And then section out the other marketing related to the other types. Another thing that is very important for you guys to know, 4 numbers. You need to know the cost per lead, the booking rate, the average ticket, and the return on ad spend. Let's talk about the cost per lead. This is what it costs for a phone lead or a phone call to end up booking an appointment with you. So anything under 200 on search or ads is healthy. Anything over 600, there's something wrong. So you need to do some investigation. So you would need to work with your marketing company and your internal team based on your profit analysis and booking to know exactly what your cost per lead is. This is something that we focus on related to HVAC marketing. And so if you're not getting this type of support, please make sure you figured this part out because it's going to help you scale and grow. Next is the booking rate. We see this a lot with HVAC companies that they think they're doing a great job, but then when we analyze their booking rate, it can be short, meaning less than 70%. So of the leads that you're generating or that you're receiving, how many of those are actually booking? If you're under 50%, that means you need to look at your internal team for your customer service reps. Are they not asking the right questions? Are they not booking appropriately? Are they not answering the phone? Maybe you need some phone assistance. This means that there's not an issue with your marketing. It is a leak within your system inside. So it's very important to pay attention to that number as well. Next, average ticket. Now you're going to average this not just on installations and replacements, but you're going to need to analyze this over your service and repairs as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your revenue and divide it by your total jobs over the last 90 days. And this will tell you, hey, are my leads actually coming in producing what my average ticket is or like close to that? What do we need to tweak on the inside in order to make sure that we're getting closer to that number so that we can make sure that we're growing in the right path? Also, return on ad spend is next. You got to make sure that when you're spending money for ads, you don't want a negative return or even a 1 to 2 time return. You want at least a 4 or higher. And as you start analyzing your numbers and you know exactly what your return ad spend is going to be, that's when you'll be able to start dialing in your marketing. So if you can't pull these 4 numbers right now, this is another one of your homework goals. You need to make sure you understand these numbers so that you can have a plan in the future and not waste money on marketing that doesn't work. Next, let's talk about your online presence. And we're going to talk about a website, online listings, and reviews. This is the foundation, especially during this AI surge that we're in. I keep giving you a lot of homework, but this is super important. And so we're trying to teach you what matters. And so please do this as well. 7-second test. Does your website actually book jobs? So you want to make sure you have a phone number on your website. It's actually clickable so that people can call it. And then you also want to make sure on your website that you have information about what you do. So HVAC repair and install in your city. For example, on the screen, it's Dallas or Fort Worth. You don't want to just have the name of your company and then our mission is your comfort. What does that mean? So you got to think about all the words within your website are signals to search engines and AI overviews as well as people. So you want to be very clear and simple with what is it that you are in business for. And that is HVAC repair, HVAC service, HVAC installation. And you want to make sure you tag it to your city. That's going to be really important. You want it clear. Hey, this particular company can answer my need, which is my air conditioning is broken in Dallas and I need it done right now. Also, proof that you're real and trusted. And this is where the license insured comes into play, as well as the Google reviews, as well as Facebook reviews and Yelp reviews. Google is the leading driver with this, but you want to make sure, even for BBB, that you're accredited for that and you display that on your website. How many years in business have you been in? And then display those reviews. That is a key indicator to your customer visiting your website that I can trust this company. So make sure that that is visible as well. And then, of course, an obvious step is, do you want them to book a service or do you want them to get a free quote? What are you trying to drive? And that needs to be very visible on your mobile, as well as the desktop, on the home page, on the other pages. You want it very easy for customers to be able to actually book a job with you. This is super important with AI now that we're getting overviews, and even on Google, there's Gemini with the overviews. It's super important that you're giving these signals that your website is able to convert, because the more you do that, the higher you rank on Google and all of the other search engines. Next, we're going to talk about your website is the primary source for your data for AI. This is huge. So we've kind of come full circle where websites, a long time ago, you were just building them as your business card online. Now it is the complete dictionary and encyclopedia of your business. And so this is another homework item for you. Does your website convey everything that you want it to convey to your customers and potential customers? 67% of local searches now trigger an AI overview before traditional searches. If your website does not have the right content and the right information to give in those AI overviews, you're missing the boat. So that is number one, especially because 67% of local searches now come through an AI overview. Next important stat is that 51% of the Google searches end with 0 clicks. Users are starting to get those answers in the first result page. So in those AI overviews or in chat answer bots, 51% of the people are just doing the summary version. And so you want to be there. And your website is the primary source for that because the more data that you have in there, the more that it's going to be able to reference for when people actually do these searches. Next, it's crazy how time has gone super fast with ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and other AI overviews and AI systems. 22% of the people are actually going there and acting as though like a search engine. So that's another reason why it's really important for your website itself to be connected to the LLMS text as well as the robots text. Those are the main files that summarize the information of your website to your search engines as well as your LLMs, which is the large language models like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini. AI is reading your website, summarizing you, and to the homeowners that may never click through, thin content will get you left out. So it is super important for you to go and make sure that your website is doing that properly. And if you need help at all, reach out to a reputable agency like us or someone else who is doing work for you that you know is reputable related to your distributor. That would be really good. You can see, hey, am I doing these things properly? Because I want to start showing up in these areas. And then make sure whenever you're researching the information on your website, does it have real expertise? No fluff. Is it a question and answer type of content? Does it have specific location pages? And then does it have the information within the local business that they know that you're trusted within the local market? Another thing that is super important in this AI era is authority. So AI cross-checks every mention of your business across the web. So it's going to take your base as the website, but then it's also going to take your base, in addition to that, for your Google business profile, your Facebook business page, your Yelp business page, your Better Business Bureau listing, if you have an Angie's List, Nextdoor, Apple Maps, and then any other industry sites like Home Advisor or Thumbtack. There is a service out there where you can connect to these. It's called a local listings optimization platform. And we do offer this. I know that other distributors do as well. It is super important that whenever you are claiming these through the data aggregator, that you are consistent. So Google Business Profile needs to match what your Facebook business page says, what the Better Business Bureau says. So like let's take an example. The heating and cooling site for Acme. Do you see how it says Acme Heating and then an ampersand and then cooling, comma, LLC? Think about online. It's got to match everything very specific. So you need to pick one format. Are you going to use the ampersand or are you going to use the and all spelled out? Are you going to use a comma LLC or are you not going to use a comma? And then also when you're writing your actual street address too, is it street with just an ST? Is it street all spelled out? Is it an LLC or no LLC? I know this seems very, very trivial, but it matters when you're trying to rank and gain authority based on search engines and AI overviews and AI details. This thing is called a consistency of NAP, which is the name, address, and phone number. So you want to make sure that you claim all these listings, make sure that all your data is input correctly, and that you don't keep changing. So make a decision, move forward, and then we can help you clean up things if for some reason you don't know exactly what you need to say. Definitely reach out to us. But one important thing that you're going to need to make sure that you do. Google Business Profile is being super, super stressed these days with any time you change your name or any time you make your address change. So I would recommend that whatever your Google Business Profile says, it needs to be your base to whatever all the other listings are saying. Because we don't want your Google Business Profile to go down or get suspended, because that can take months to get back. So if your Google Business Profile is already claimed and it's already working well, match everything to it if it's accurate to your business. Let's talk about Google Business Profile now. So 3 times more leads come from an optimized business profile than one that's just stagnant and sitting there. This is a free service. You can pay for someone to manage it, but Google Business Profile itself does not charge any money for this. So this is a very low-hanging fruit option for your business. Make sure you go and claim your Google Business Profile if you have not done so already. And these are the steps. You would want to claim the business listing and then put in your primary category, which is HVAC or whatever your category is. And then make sure you pick those additional categories like heating contractor, air conditioning repair, furnace repair, HVAC systems, all of the different things related to your business. You can only pick the top 5. So make sure you pick those because you want to make sure that you're signaling to Google and all of the other searchers that these are the categories that my business is related to. Next, what you want to do is make sure that your service area is in the details of the Google Business Profile, not just zip codes. So you can only have 20 cities connected to your Google Business Profile. So make sure you pick the top 20 that you want to target. That is super important to make sure that that is in there properly. Next, photos are super important. You want to make sure that you are giving Google Business Profile and all of the key indicators that, hey, we're still in business and here's a new job that we just did, or here's my install team. It is really good to upgrade and update monthly. That would include your photos and then your posts. Also, there's a way to make posts on there. Also, make sure whenever you're picking your services and your categories that you build transparency with that. So let's say you're HVAC contractor, and I know this may sound crazy, but you wouldn't want to pick water heaters if you're really focused on HVAC. We see this all the time where HVAC companies may not know exactly what to pick. And so there may be some wrong information in there. So you want to make sure that you pick it correctly and you make sure that it's accurate. And then just like your social for Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of the socials that you're doing, you want to make sure that you're posting on your Google Business Profile. Something that is super important that Google has started to be upset about and to start suspending Google Business Profiles is any links or phone numbers or financing information within Google Business Profile. When you're posting weekly content or even daily content on Google, do not include, we offer financing, even though you do, it's against their rules, you'll get in trouble. Also, don't put any links. Google Business Profile prefers posts that keep you within their map. So don't put links to your website. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but there is a website button that they can go and click. They're starting to shut down Google Business Profiles for people who are putting in links because they're thinking that they're getting spammed. So don't do that. And then also, it really doesn't like when you list your phone number out in the profile, excuse me, in the actual post itself. So the website link and the profile link for the phone number should be in your main Google business listing. Do not include them in your weekly posts. Next, reviews. It is the most thing these days for your marketing. This is what you need to do. The three-touch review system is before a tech leaves, it would be really good if you could get a review. There are some tap to cards with NFC that you can do. You can even print cards with QR codes that link. When you have your Google Business profile in the back end, there's a way to ask for reviews. And that particular link is what you want to put in your QR code. And that is also what you want to put in your NFC tap cards. So that way, whenever your technician gets done and they know that the customer is happy, they can say, "Hey, can I ask you for a review? It really would mean a lot to our business." And then if the customer has a Gmail, that is a requirement for Google, then they can scan that QR code or tap that NFC card and leave a review right then. That is the best way to get as many reviews as possible because we all live busy lives. And so they may leave and they may not give you a review and they go about their busy day. So that is the number one touch review system that works the best that we've seen. Now, what if your customer says, "I don't have a Gmail"? What you should do is have alternate cards for Facebook or Yelp, or even a testimonials page for your website. You want to try to get the customer to leave a review, but don't be too pushy about it. Next, 30 minutes after the job, if the person has not left a review, you can send an automated text. And there are several service softwares that do this. I know Field Edge, Service Titan, and others, House Call Pro, will do this as well. And then if you don't have any of those service softwares, there are other review generation softwares that you can use, like Podium, Chirp, other things like that, that can help you get those reviews. And what that would do is send a text to the customer and says, "Hey, thanks so much for your service today. Would you please leave us a review?" Then if that fails and they do not give you a review, then you can do another follow-up, and you can do it by a text follow-up or an email follow-up. Do not pay customers for reviews. That is against Google policy, and if they find out you're doing it, they will strip your reviews. So it's important to not do that. I know that some people think that that's a good idea, but we have seen dealers in the past try this, and then Google takes away their reviews. So just make sure you're doing it the right way. Also, make sure you don't keep hounding them. If you've gone through this three-step process and they haven't left your review, you just say thank you and you move on. So one key thing for Google is you want to make sure that you're staying at least above the 4.5 mark on your reviews. This is a very critical step in the star rating that we've seen when dealers and companies go beyond, or excuse me, below this 4.5 rating. They don't show up as well. Google prefers the companies that have 4.5 or higher. Also, it's really important that those reviews are relevant and recent. So we have actually just this week seen one of our customers is getting a lot of reviews in every single day. And we even saw in their Google local ranking with their service ads that their preferred spot is increasing because of that. So the more reviews you get, the more consistent you get, the higher it will influence your rankings on ads and the map pack. And we all know that there are bad reviews out there and this will happen. But do not be stressed because people prefer to see that if you have a bad review, how did you handle it? So think about, okay, let's say you get a 1 star and someone's really upset with you. The best thing to do is to respond within 24 hours within your Google Business Profile. You want it to be calm, brief, and professional. So if you did miss the mark, say that. I'm so sorry. I missed the mark, or our team missed the mark. Offer to take the information and the conversation offline. So just say, please give me a call at, and then put your main business number. Don't put your cell phone on there because unfortunately other people read it and they may call you for solicitation. So put the main office number. Never argue the facts. I know that it can be very stressful when someone gives you a 1 star or 2 star review. Try to take your heart out of it. And if you need an agency to help you, usually they're a little more neutral in their responses. And you can give them the information, but then have them write a calm, brief, professional response. Then let's say we've had this happen before too. Let's say that someone gives you a bad, like 1 or 2 star review, but you know that something got messed up on the call and you want to actually fix it, and you fix it. You can then ask the customer to change the review. And about 30% of customers will actually do that because they just want their stuff right in the first place. So don't hesitate to ask them to change the review. All they have to do is go back into their review, logged in as Gmail, and they can update their review at any time, the star rating and the words. So we've seen this a lot with our dealers, is that they've asked for that and customers have complied because they actually fixed exactly what was going on. And so then the customer was happy. These are some things that you don't ever want to do. Don't attack, don't blame, and don't call the customer a liar. We've seen this before, so it doesn't go over well. So try to stay calm, stay brief and professional. Don't share private settings or details like address or diagnosis or how much they actually paid for. That's going to be something that you don't want to include because Google reviews are public. Also, don't copy and paste the same reply to every single bad review. You got to think about, people are going to be searching this information online. And if they just see the same thing over and over and over again, copy paste for a reply, they're not going to say that it's genuine. And so you want to be relevant and you want to be professional with each review. Also, don't write on there, please remove this immediately. It's hurting our business. You don't want to seem desperate. You want to think about, how is this going to look in the public eye? We want to make sure we're professional because we're a professional organization. Also, don't ignore it. Don't just say, oh, it's a 1 star, I'm just not going to do anything about it, because new customers and your existing customers are reading your reviews. So they want to see, how are you going to handle it? And that will speak volumes a lot more than just the 1 star review. Okay, let's talk about ranking in the Google Map Pack. So 44% of HVAC clicks go within the 3 map pack top results. So if you're not staying there at the top, you can be invisible because customers don't want to keep going down the list. So these are the things that will affect your rankings in the Google Map Pack. Proximity is 40% of the weight. So let's say you have a customer that is nearby within, let's say you're in Atlanta and they're in Atlanta. You're going to show up if the distance from the searcher is the closest to your business. Proximity is 40% of the ranking weight. Then relevance is 25%. So, for example, are they searching furnace repair in Atlanta, Georgia? Are they searching a specific HVAC service near me? Like, what exactly are they searching for? That's why it's a super critical task for you to make sure that you have all of the right information within your Google business profile so that when the searchers are looking for this, you are relevant because it is 25% of the rated ranking. Next, prominence. Your review count, how many reviews you're getting, how often you're getting. So you want to make sure that you're staying posting on your Google Business profile. You're actually getting those reviews. You're actually responding to them. Prominence is 25% of the ranking weight. Next, engagement. So Google actually pays attention when someone calls your business from your call link on your Google business profile. Are you actually answering the phone? So make sure you start answering the phone properly and continue if you're doing a good job. And then make sure if anybody's asking any questions that you're responding to those because there's a way that customers can go in and ask a question. And then if you never respond, that's going to affect your engagement. So you got to make sure you pay attention to that. Next, let's talk about the core lead channels, where consistent calls actually come from and what should it cost you. Here's a chart we're going to go over. It's going to be a channel related to Google local service ads, Google search ads, which is also called pay-per-click ads, your Google business profile, which is what we just talked about was the map pack, then referrals and customer reactivity and re-engagement, and then Facebook and direct mail. So let's cover Google local ads first. This is going to vary based on your region, but we've seen a cost per lead ranging from $80 to $140. And these are calls or messages, depending on if you have your message option on. You need to be responding to those immediately by answering the phone or sending the message back. These are usually emergency calls, and you're going to be paying per lead, not the actual click. So this is a super important way to get those emergency calls. Now, Google local ads, you have to go through background checks and insurance and license checks to be approved on that. So also Google local only takes the top 20 bidders in a market. So this is where that cost per lead can vary. Next, Google search ads, which is also pay-per-click. This will also fluctuate a bit based on the season that you're in. So we've seen it range any from $80 to $250. Now we're calculating it based on the cost per lead, but it is a cost per click. So your cost per click could be as low as $1, $2, $10. But overall, for a phone call lead, we're seeing it between 80 to 250. This can be for install leads, system replacements, and then remember what we were talking about with your customers a few slides back. These really work well with those planners because they're looking to make sure they get the right quote and the right install and the right lead. Next, the Google Business Profile. Again, remember this is free. It will cost you if you have an agency to manage it, like if they're posting content for you, but the actual Google Business Profile itself is free to set up. It is long term. It's going to build those compounding free calls. It doesn't cost you anything to receive those. But just so you know, this is where you have to build the information on there. So it's not immediate where you start a business profile and you start getting all the leads for free. You've got to build that content. You've got to build those posts. You've got to update those photos that we talked about. And you also have to get those reviews. Referrals and past customer reactivation. This is going to be the cheapest, highest trust leads for your business. And the way that you can do this is through direct mail related to your customers directly and through email marketing. And so depending on the platform that you're using, if you're using Service Titan, Marketing Pro, or Field Edge, Marketing Edge, Those things can cost you money for the service software itself, but referrals and past customer reactivation is usually costing around 15 to 50 bucks. Next, Facebook and direct mail retargeting. So this we've seen average between 60 and 180 bucks. And this is where you're going to use Facebook as a knowledge, like branding for your company, and also increase your followers and also increase your calls to fill the schedule with tune-ups or install quotes. The winning HVAC dealers don't just pick one of these channels. They run 4 to 5 at once, and when one dips, they use others to cover the schedule. Because as you know, the market is becoming fragmented. There's lots of ways to find HVAC. And so you want to be in all of these areas to make sure that when people are searching, they can find you. Okay, now we're going to break it down. Google local service ads. Again, these are pay per call, pay per lead, not an actual just pay per click. So this is going to be the section at the top when you're searching online that says Google guaranteed and the check marks. And so you only pay when a homeowner clicks the phone number or the message to actually connect with you. This is the highest buyer intent of any channel that we work with. These callers have an emergency and they want your help right now. So it is very important to answer those calls, and we see a great return on investment in this section if you bid properly and you answer the phone and you provide a great service. Here are 5 steps that you need to do in order to get approved to be a Google guaranteed provider and to be in the local service ad section. You need to start the account with a Gmail. You need to verify the license, enter all the details related to your license number, your insurance, and then you also have to do background checks. Now, Google uses a company called Evident, and what they do is they go through the background checks on their end. So an agency is not doing the background check. All an agency or yourself is going to do is enter the information within the system for who's actually entering the home. So you've got to do your owner as one of them, and then whatever technician enters the home is who Google requires as a background check related to that. And they want to vet all of the people and make sure that they don't have any criminal history because they are guaranteeing that your business is a good business. This particular process can take 4 to 6 weeks. Can go faster. We have seen them, go as quick as 1 to 2 weeks, but it depends on, is there anything in your background check? Is there anything happening? And then how quick can they get through those? But again, this is one of the highest return on investment sectors that are happening right now. After you go through that process, the next step is to go set up the service area by zip codes and service type. Make sure you're entering the zip codes in the cities, and you want it to be as close to your area as possible. So let's say that you're in Marietta, Georgia, but you're like, I really, really want to get customers in Duluth, which is like 50 miles away. That's not going to rank as high because you're a lot further. So this also connects directly to your map, and that proximity factor is going to play a factor in your ranking for Google Local. So you want to make sure that you are very intentional with what zip codes and service area cities that you're entering into the back end of Google Local. Next, after you do that, then you want to set your weekly budget. Google Local Services is a weekly budget, not a daily budget. Now, because Google Local is taking the top 20 HVAC companies within the area for bidding, you want to overbid just a little bit. So start at like $1,000 a week. One thing that is super important though is you need to have someone managing this, because if you set your budget at $1,000 a week, it's very possible that it could spend it. So you want to lower it if you're getting too busy, or increase it if you don't have enough calls. So you want someone in your office or an agency like us who is monitoring this on a weekly basis so that you're not wasting money and you're actually getting able to have the return on investment for your leads. You pay for a valid lead and it will be capped. So like, let's say you get all the $1,000 a week budget spent, your ad will stop showing. So that's why you've got to make sure that your budget is set properly. Now, I would not go in there and update it every single day, because every time you make an update, there's like a little learning phase that Google's going to go through. And so you could stall your account if you're making too many updates every day. Also, it's really important that someone on your team or an agency or someone is listening to these calls and then disputing any bad leads. So Google does a great job at sending the right kind of leads, but every now and then there will be some leads that come in that maybe it's outside of your service area or it's a spam. You can actually request or tell Google that this was a bad lead, and then they'll credit it. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, like every single time, but we have seen great success in that whenever you're paying attention and telling them, hey, this is not a good lead. Also, make sure you're answering these calls within 20 seconds if possible. Google actually uses this answer rate in the algorithm. So if you're not answering your calls, they're going to say, oh, this is not a company that is doing a good job in answering their leads. So we probably shouldn't send any more leads to them. So the Google rewards responsive companies who are answering and booking the job quickly. Also, something else that's not on this list, there is a way on the back end to mark the call if it's booked or not booked, and that's called archive or dispute. So you want to make sure that someone in your office is actually doing this. Don't just leave the calls in there and then Google never knows. Are you actually booking the calls or are you not booking the calls? So it's important to signal to Google, hey, this job's booked or that job wasn't booked. Now let's talk about pay-per-click. This is the next section underneath Google Guarantee, and it's going to show up as keywords that are typed in. So for example, furnace replacement, Atlanta, Georgia, or new AC install cost in Marietta, Georgia. You want to make sure that you are monitoring your Google ads properly, because you can have a lot of waste if you don't have the right keywords in there. You want to make sure you're using phrase match or exact match. Broad match, which is what some of the Performance Max campaigns are trying to gear you towards. Those actually can waste money because broad will pick up the word repair, but may not pick up the word furnace. So you want to make sure that you're not using broad match keywords if at all possible. Next, you want to separate your campaigns based on service. So you don't want to just have one campaign that is everything for everyone, because Google still prefers the relevancy, just like the Google Business Profile we were talking about earlier. If a customer is searching for a repair, you want an ad repair group to show up, and you want the group to be named properly. You want the keywords to be named properly. You want the ad copy to remain properly or to be connected correctly. And the reason why is because it's going to show up to the customer, and you need to be the most relevant so that they pick you. It's important to separate those campaigns based on service. So have repairs campaign, have an install campaign, have a maintenance campaign. And if you do commercial separately. Then within those campaigns, have the keywords that correspond to this, just that campaign. So you want it as relevant and consistent as possible. And that signals to Google that, hey, my campaign section is set up properly. Also, make sure that the landing page that you're sending those clicks to have the right keywords on that. Don't stuff the keywords on the page, but make sure that, hey, if they're looking for repair, you're sending them to a page that has repair content so that they know, oh, I'm in the right place. So don't send them to like an install page if it's on repairs. Next, send traffic, like we just said, to the corresponding page, and make sure in the back end of your website that you're giving the right information. So is the headline proper? Is the phone number connected right? Do they have a way to book an appointment? Do they have a form if they need to request more information? Make sure definitely the phone number is there. And if you're using Service Titan or another um, service software, that you're actually including those big bookable connections. That's what's going to make the user book an appointment with you and stop searching. Also, call tracking numbers for Google Ads it's very important. That's how you're going to know those numbers that we talked about a few slides before. If you can't track what calls are coming in, you're not going to know what your cost per lead is. You're not going to know what your return on investment is. I know some dealers get a little stressed about this, but the information related to the return on investment outweighs the stress. So make sure you consider that. Um, let's talk about your past customer list. This is the gold mine. This is something that they've already used you before. They just need to be reminded to use you again. 5 times cheaper to win back a past customer than acquire a new one. 40% of past HVAC customers will buy again within 3 years if you stay in touch. This is super key. Stay in touch with them because you want to be top of mind. Don't spam them a lot. Don't over communicate, but it's important you could send like an email blast in the spring and the fall and say, hey, I haven't talked to you lately. It's time for your tune-up. The last time you did it was last season. It's time again. There's a service software like Service Titan or Field Edge, like I said. They have marketing campaigns within their service softwares that you'll be able to set this up within there to remind your customers. Also, another idea is an anniversary touch point. So let's say that you just installed a system, but then they never actually bought a maintenance plan. Why not put in your system that within a year, check back with them and say, hey, thanks so much for installing, system with us last year. Let's go ahead and get you on a maintenance plan to make sure everything's okay. Or, hey, we're just following up with you to make sure everything's all right. Is there anything you need from us? Again, you can do this with your service software. If you don't have a service software, there are other email marketing options out there like Chirp does texting, Podium does texting, also MailChimp if you want to send emails. Also, why don't you build a referral reward system? So say send a neighbor our way and you'll get $50 off your next service, or we'll give you a service agreement discount, or we'll give you other things that are referrals, structure, whatever works within your business. And then put those referral things on every invoice. Put a website form on your website and then tell people about it. Say, hey, we would love for you to refer us to your friends and your neighbors. Especially if you take good care of them, they would love to do that. Then another option is, why not send them a text that says, hey, how's your system running? If anything isn't right, why don't we come out and check it? That way, within a year, are they having any warranty issues? And then also, it gives you an opportunity to say, oh, are you having any trouble with your indoor air quality? Is there anything that we can help you with? You want to be a trusted advisor and you want to help them solve some problems. So, re-engaging those past customers is a great gold mine, and that's something you need to put a system around. Also, social proof is everywhere, as you guys know. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. Social is everywhere, and people trust people more than ads. While those ads are important, if you don't have the people and the trust to back it up, your ads won't work as well. So you want to build all of these channels together. So you want to have real technicians, real jobs. And then if your customers want to, give testimonials or, be on video, just make sure that you get a signature from them as like a release because you don't want to just put a video up without their permission. Also, super important, don't show addresses on your videos. Don't show anything that's like a sensitive, like children or anything else within the home. You want to make sure that you're just focusing on what was I here to do, the job, the actual system, and then, if your customers want to give you a video testimonial, then of course them. Also, any sort of job content. We've seen great success when dealers do short videos, even on their cell phones themselves, where they're doing short clips of real work and explaining exactly what they're doing. This is showing people out there that you have credibility, you know exactly what you're doing, and people would prefer to see video sometimes over photos. So it's important to do that. You can do one 30-second reel per week. And like I said, your technicians can do that themselves and then maybe send it to you as the owner and then you upload it. Or if you want to give them access, you can as well. But it's super important that you're making sure that it matches your brand. You want to make sure you're posting correctly and that, like I said, you're not showing anything that you shouldn't be showing. Also, real faces and real names on your team are super important. So it's not just the owner of the company that's doing all the work usually. You want to highlight your team because that's what is important, and your customers are actually connecting to them as well. So make sure you do team introductions and talk about that type of stuff so that customers can feel connected to you. Make sure you put this stuff on all the social platforms, but then also tie it back to your website. Anytime you can create that linking structure, the better it looks within Google and the AI algorithms that you're connected everywhere. All right, let's talk specifically about Facebook and Meta. So, when you should use Facebook, when you're running branding ads for exposure, when you want to increase your page followers, which is your actual business page followers, you need to fill your schedule with the shoulder seasons and the weeks. You're promoting specials like tune-ups or membership plans. And even don't forget about those brand rebates for your equipment replacements. That's a great time to use Facebook as well. You want to blast people with as much information as possible. A lot of times it takes them 7 times to see something before they take an action. Facebook and Meta ads are a lot cheaper than Google ads. And you can also reach a lot more people. So just keep that in mind. Don't use Facebook when you need leads today or this week. That's when you use Google and even Bing ads too, where you need to fill the schedule right now. Also, don't just run these ads on Facebook and Meta without a landing page. So your landing page could be your Facebook business page. It could be a phone number as the call to action or the actual website itself. That is going to work the best. Also, you can invest around $200 a month and keep consistent with the ads going quarter per quarter. So there are different ad angles that you can pay attention to related to this. You can do it as the seasonal nudge, like we talked about. Like right now in the spring, it's a really good idea to do your AC tune-up. And you can give specific dates and scarcity dates so that they know, hey, we only have 15 slots open, this month. We want you to book your tune-up. Also, like I said, those brand rebates for your equipment, a lot of times those will be within the quarter. And so you want to target those aging systems and those planners that we talked about before. And you can do that with simple words within the meta ed background and then make sure that your image is connected properly. Also, what works really good are real reviews and customer testimonials and photos as well. That shows that, hey, we're legit, we're actually doing this. Another offline item that still really works well, there's three of them: your trucks, your signs, and the neighborhoods that you're in. This in the past was considered like guerrilla marketing. And just think about if we're doing Google ads and we're doing Facebook ads and we're targeting specific neighborhoods, then they see your truck in that neighborhood, then they see a neighborhood sign. You're going to close more of those adjacent homeowners than if you did nothing at all. So think about this as a combination effort. So truck wraps that are done right can have as many as 30,000 impressions in a metro Atlanta area or a metro area. So make sure your phone number is large. You have a QR code that is either to a phone number or to a way to book an appointment. You have all of the services listed and your trucks are clean. Make sure they're not dirty. That's important because it represents your brand. Also, neighborhood signs. You can print these pretty cheap, $8 per sign, but then when you get calls off of them, your return on investment is great. Every install customer, why don't you ask them, hey, can I just put a sign out here for a week or two? Make sure you go back and pick it up though. You don't want to just leave it in their yard forever. Also, while you're there in the neighborhood, why don't you just go put some door hangers on? Don't put them on the mailboxes though. That's against the rules. You could put it on the door hanger and go canvas right around your area saying, hey, we just took care of your customer. We'd love to take care of you too if you're having any issues. This works really well when you put a QR code on the neighborhood door hanger sign. You also have your phone number and then give them an offer, like maybe 10% off of their repair or a maintenance plan. It's important that with every single neighborhood job that you do, that you want a postcard or direct mail to say, hey, we worked here. Your neighbors trust us. This also works really well when you're combining the truck wraps, the neighborhood yard signs, and again, those social ads that you're doing. Also, let's talk about community and presence. So your town is your territory. HVAC is usually a local trusted business. The homeowner is picking you because they saw you, they relate to you, they keep seeing you all around town. So pay attention to those community events. Let's say there's a festival or a 5K or a parade or a school fundraiser. Sponsor those. Do the local events. Take care of the sporting teams, the youth sports teams. Put logos on the fields. Um, Show up in the wrapped truck if there's like a public event. This builds excuse me, I can say that word. They're familiar with you. So make sure that you're showing up in those community events because people like to deal with people and they want to trust you. Also, your chamber and your local networking groups, like the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, BNI, these are great relationship groups. And if you get connected in those groups, you can get referrals from those, and it doesn't cost a whole lot. So just think about going to those and networking and actually showing up. And let's say if you're super busy and you can't do it, we see that it works great whenever your office manager goes, or your general manager goes, or your service manager. It doesn't have to be you as the owner. It can just be someone who is representing your company and who represents them well. Next, local realtor events, why this works. So think about all of the different realtors and how they're selling houses, and they may need a tune-up or they may need a cistern replacement because of the job deal related to the house sale. You want to be connected to these realtors. So an idea is create like a luncheon for them and say, hey, I would love to be your HVAC company that you recommend. Those are great ways to connect within the homes and the realtors within your market. All right, now let's talk about budget planning and the seasonal strategies. How much should you actually be spending on marketing? You want to take your gross revenue and multiply it times your growth goal percentage. So you can see the examples here. 5%, you want to maintain and hold your current market share. 9% of your gross revenue, you want to have moderate growth, so 10 to 20% year over year. Then let's say you want to grow aggressively and you have enough people to handle it, then you would want to be 13 times your gross revenue. Now, if any of you are doing new construction or commercial, you want to take that number out of here. This is based on residential repair, replacement, and installation goals. Um, so for example, if you're a $1 million gross revenue company, you want to be spending on average around $50,000 a year on marketing to maintain your market share in your community. That is going to be for everything we just talked about. So your community events, your yard signs, your chamber, your ads, your marketing on your website, your social media. So all that's included. It's important to come up with this number at the beginning of the year and know, hey, what is my goal this year? And that way you can see how it's working because you have a plan. So this is important to do. And the rule of thumb is if you're spending less than 5%, you're not technically marketing, you're hoping. So if you're spending more than 13%, you're not growing. The problem is the budget. It's not the budget, it's the channels. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to those cost per leads and all of the metrics that we talked about a few slides back. All right, so let's talk about how you can plan and what works well in what seasons. So in the winter time, let's focus on heating emergencies. And that's where those Google local ads in the guarantee section and pay-per-click, have those ramped up to max spend that you can based on your budget. Make sure you answer the call quick within 20 seconds. And then when you're on those repairs, sell the maintenance plans. On spring, you want to focus on your AC tune-ups and your installs. So remember those past customer tune-up blasts we were talking about a few slides back? Do those in the spring. Do some pre-season AC sale promos. Participate in those brand rebate programs, and then participate in the community events. You can also do like Habitat for Humanity and other things to drive awareness. Don't wait for the first heat wave to start your ads and your marketing plans. You want to make sure you start in March because you want to get everything dialed in for when the summer hits. And the summer is where you want to focus on those AC emergencies and those installs. This is where you're going to bump back up your local service ads to maximum spend. Make sure you're doing it within your capacity though. Don't spend money if you can't run the calls. So that is super key. We don't want to just spend money and waste it. Also, if you're having trouble answering the phone, consider AI voice answering or answering service that backs you up. And then also push financing on those old systems for replacements. Don't overspend on Facebook in the summer because people are searching for, hey, I got a problem. This is an emergency. And remember when we talked back earlier, those channels are going to be pay-per-click and Google Local, where people are searching, they need immediate results. Next, for fall, talk about heating tune-ups and membership plans. So you want to be pushing those. Another great way to reach customers in that time would be direct mail. And then also don't forget about those rebate programs related to your brand. All right, let's talk about tracking. So this is going to be something, another homework item for you. You need to be paying attention to these details on a monthly basis and pulling it and being able to fix it if it's not working. So the first metric is how many calls have you received? Is your marketing actually producing? And then if it's not, then you need to fix the ad spend or the Google Business Profile activity or increase your results, excuse me, your reviews. The next thing is your booking rate. Are you booking 75% or is it lower than that? Of those calls that you received, how many are actually converting to revenue? And if that number is off, then you need to do some customer service training, maybe some call scripts for them. Look at your hold time. We see this a lot, where you think, oh, I'm not getting enough leads. Well, you are. You're just putting them on hold for too long and then they hang up. So also investigate your answering service too. Make sure they're doing the right thing. Listen to those calls. Also, you want to look at your cost per lead. Remember a few slides back, we talked about that. What's working, what's not working. Pause the worst channels, kill any keywords that aren't producing, and constantly checking on that. This is an activity you need to be doing every month, or have an agency that you know is actually doing it for you. Next is your average ticket. Are your techs selling? What's happening? Do they need tech training or pricing, or are there problems that come up in a call and they don't know how to handle it? So make sure you're paying attention to your average ticket. Also, it's very important to try to get 8 to 12 reviews per week, depending on the size of your company. That's going to vary. But is your review system working? Remember the 3-touch system that we reviewed just a little bit ago? Do you need to retrain your techs? Is it stressing them out to ask? Do you have any incentives in place for your techs to get the reviews? Next, membership signups. That's low-hanging fruit as well. You want the customer to be sticky to you, and so you need to be looking at that. Are we growing that area whenever we go on repairs or talking to customers? We want to make sure that we're adding that and that we're consistently adding memberships every month. If you could look at this on a monthly basis, this will actually help you as you grow every month. Another thing that a lot of HVAC companies need to do is call tracking. And so we hear it a lot where they're like, oh, I only want my main number out there. That's all I want. Nowadays, people are looking on their phone and they're just typing in, like, let's say, for example, it's Smith HVAC. They're going to look up Smith HVAC. They're going to call it from the internet or call it from Facebook. So don't be stressed about the call tracking numbers, because you're going to gain valuable wisdom for your particular company if you know how many calls am I getting? What's actually resulting in revenue? And so you want to look at what are these numbers producing in terms of the marketing channel so that you can understand if it's working or not. That is super important. Then, how do you scale? Do the 90-day test. So if your cost per lead isn't 2 times what your ad spend is, think about killing it. If your booking rate from that channel is under 35%, maybe it's not the right channel for you. Is your return on ad spend under 2 to 1? Are you getting the leads that you want in the service area that you want? That's another thing that's important. And then is it only producing repairs and not installs? So that's another thing to look at. Also, it is going well if you're getting the right calls in the right area, you're able to book them, your customer service is doing the right thing. This is something you need to be monitoring not only on that initial monthly basis, but then do it quarterly and then adjust as you go, because you don't want these things in place for the whole year if it's not working. All right, so here are some more homework items for you. Within the next month, this is what you need to do. In the first week, let's measure, pull the last 90 days of jobs, calculate those four numbers that we talked about earlier with the cost per lead, the return on investment. Audit your Google business profile and do that checklist that was earlier in the slides. Count your Google reviews, set a weekly budget, a weekly goal for those. Set up call tracking numbers for any channels that you're unsure about. Fix the free stuff. Complete and update your services on Google Business Profile. Remember, don't change your name or your address or you're going to get suspended. Now, if you move, that's a different story. But within week 2, make sure that you're uploading fresh photos into your Google Business Profile. You're getting those 3-touch review systems, the text trained and set up the review responses or the review generation items. Make sure your website has the phone number and the content is unique. Then in week 3, once you get these base items established, let's look at turning on a paid channel if you need extra leads. So think about starting your Google Local application, launching a pay-per-click campaign, doing some Facebook ads, and then mailing postcards to your best recent installs, the neighbors around them. Next, week 4, let's build a routine. Send the past customer the reactivation list blasts related to your emails or texts. Try to get customers back in the fold. Launch your maintenance plan offer. Train every tech on exactly what's happening. Set up your monthly scorecards. So we were looking at those reviews that you're getting. What is your return on investment? Those are the monthly scorecards. And then set a 90-day review period and then put it on the calendar. Try to do this at least for the first month and then set yourself up the 90-day calendar plan. So 6 things worth remembering. These are key takeaway. You can't scale what you don't measure. So know your cost per lead, know what your booking rate is, know your average ticket and your return on investment. That is super important that you stay intimate with those details so that you can continue to grow over time. Number 2, pick one customer. Remember, are you focusing on the emergency customer? If so, Google Local, Google Pay-per-click. If you're focusing on the planner, that's where you're going to do the branding messaging and the social media, and that also works good with pay-per-click. Number 3, your maintenance club. That's where those email blasts work good, those direct mail. So what are you going to focus on? Who's your best customer that you want to reach? Number 3, your Google business profile and reviews are 80% of the game, remember? So before you pay for any ads, you want to make sure your Google business profile is right and you've got a good amount of reviews. Number 4, run 3 to 5 channels at once, not just one. So you don't have to do paid ads and everything, but you want to make sure you're visible in all of the different locations. So that way, when one dips, you can bring up another. Membership plans are also important in the shoulder season. So make sure you're trying to sell those on every repair. And then number 6, review every 90 days and stop doing what's not working. It's not good to spend money on marketing in a shotgun approach that you don't know if it's working or not. Marketing can be expensive, so you want to make sure it's working properly. All right, now we've reached the question section. So we're actually going to look at the questions now. Okay, so it looks like Joe on our team has answered a lot of questions. We only have one live one right now to answer. So this is from Brian, and he says, we use postcards for our service agreement reminders. It's a nice card with a magnet, and they put it on their fridge. I think that's a great idea. That is something that you should keep doing because if customers like to put that on their fridge, it keeps them visible in their home, and they know, oh yes, I need to call Spencer Air Conditioning. So that's great. Let me go back through some of the answered ones. Is the AI something in addition that we need to add to the website? So our websites that we build are all AI connected. So we already connect to the LLMS and also the robots text. So you don't have to worry about that, Loretta. It's already taken care of on the back end of the website. And then, yes, we will be sharing this. The answer question is, will you be sharing this presentation afterwards? Yes, we will be. You will actually get an email right after this is done. Ryan asks, why does a customer share photos and get priority display on Google Photos over company uploads? Is there a way to change this? Oh, Ryan, I wish that there was. But unfortunately, that is a Google thing that they prioritize, and you can request, or we can request on your behalf to remove those or to ask them to remove them. But unfortunately, that is a part of the Google algorithm, just as Joe has mentioned in being authentic in real world. Another question is, do all of your technicians need to have background checks for the Google local? The answer to that is the people that will be entering the home are the ones that need to do the background checks. So we have some dealers that you'll know whenever the phone call comes in, it'll say it's a Google lead, and they know they only need to send the technicians that are related to the background checks. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to send an unverified tech on a Google call that you didn't tell them about, because Google is guaranteeing you, and so you don't want to be false in that. Another question, is there a way to know if a call comes in from Google? Yes. So if you're doing paid ads on Google Local, it will actually tell you. And then if you're doing call tracking, there is a way to do a whisper. So we can talk to you about that afterwards. And then Loretta has another question. In your opinion, do mass email campaigns through our processor work well? Yes, it can. You can send like general information, like you're wanting to be educational to the customer. Those work really well because it's keeping it top of mind. And then Loretta also had a question, do seasonal inspection reminders to customers? Yes, that is important to keep doing those for seasonal inspections. I see there's a couple more questions that are coming in. How long should it take for digital marketing to really get going? Okay, if you're doing paid ads as a part of your digital marketing, you can make it go faster. So pay-per-click and Google Local you can see immediate results within the first 2 months. If you're only doing a website and some search engine words, that can take 6 to 9 months. So think about all of the different websites out there and all the details. It takes a lot of time to get ranked. So if you need something super fast, you would want to do all the base items, which is your website, your local listings, and those are the key with the search engine also as like keywords within your website. Those are the base. Then if you need something faster than the 6 to 9 months, if you're not established online yet, then that's when you want to invoke the ads. So you want to do Google Local, Google Pay-per-click, and social media ads. And for the next question, Ryan's asking, do you offer Facebook management like you do for Google? Yes, we do. We can write content on social media. We can post all of the details related to it, the images. We actually have quite a lot of customers that do that. And we also have implemented an AI system as well, where we custom code the AI prompt specifically for your business. And it can generate weather related social media posts that, of course, we're managing and approving. But it can pull in the weather, and then the social media can be very relevant to exactly what's going on in your local community. And Ryan, we can reach out after this. Another question. Will you need to submit new hires for background checks as there are technician turnover? That's a great question. And what's crazy is that Google Local doesn't make you do that. So we've had people ask the same question. And when you go back into Google Local and you go to the section where it's been approved, it won't let you enter that information. So as of right now, they don't require that. Jason has a question. Have you ever used native advertising in HVAC? Now, are you talking about for native, are you talking about display? And if you're talking about display, we have used that before, but think about that as branding. So if for some reason that's not what you're talking about, if you could give me a little more details, I could answer that for you. Next, James, do your services come as a package from an offering or a cost and a cost perspective? Yes. So we actually have several different options. We can do it as packages. Um, okay, Jason just answered. I will come to you next, Jason. Thank you for answering that. James, we do have packages. We also have a la carte options. So what we do is we make our services unique for what the dealers need and the companies need. So if you need a website and social media and ads, yes, we can do packages together. And we can follow up after this related to the costs related to that. But let's say you only need a website, like you're really struggling with just a website. We can do that just by itself. All right, Jason, for brand view, for local news sites, yes, we have done TV ads and local news sites as well. Think about that though, if it's specifically local news websites, those are considered brand display or networking display. So those are going to show up in a different area versus the Google local and the Google pay-per-click. So think of that as branding. That is the top of the funnel ad. That is not going to be bottom of the funnel. So someone's not going to search um, AC repair and then go to CNN or Fox News. They're not going to do that. They're going to go within Google. So all of that brand view stuff related to local news sites, those are display, and think of those as top of funnel branding. There, depending on your budget, that may or may not be working. So we take each individual HVAC company and determine, is that going to be the right best fit for them, and where is their revenue and where are their goals? Okay, Brian, so how do you know how the Google advertising works for us? Are you monitoring and adjusting as necessary to all the channels as a part of our monthly package? Yes. So specifically, we have people on our team that are listening to those calls and then making notes and doing those signals to Google. This is a good lead. This is a bad lead. This is a booked lead, or this is an archive lead. And then we're actually changing the budget as we need to try to increase those rankings. So we're looking to see, where are you showing up in the Google local ads? And then we make adjustments on our side. And we're doing that on the back end without any input from you. If we see, hey, this isn't spending as well as it needs to, we are actually adjusting that on our own. And then if you need more leads, or if you're too full, that's when you would need to alert us, hey, I need more, or I don't need more. Also for Brian, I noticed that our Google business page, some companies have book and get a quote button related to their profile, and some people only have call buttons. Yes. So that is on the Google business profile itself. There are several ways to do that depending on your service software. So if you have Service Titan, which I don't think you do, But Service Titan has a way, it's called Reserve with Google. There is a way to connect that through Service Titan. If you do not have Service Titan, we actually offer this as well. We have another service where we could connect that and we could add that book online and connect it to you so we can follow up with you after that. That is where those book leads and get a quote are connected on the Google business. So we will reach out after that, after this. All right. Any other questions? Right now, I do not believe so. Well, I know that this was a lot of information. This was on the fundamentals of marketing, and I'm very thankful for everyone that participated in this and listened to all the details. If you need help or have more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email is here, support at all contractor marketing. We have a team of people that monitor that and get it to the right people to make the decisions and to do the answers. Or you can also call us at 404-419-6884. That's our main number, and we will be glad to help you. As a reminder, we are doing these webinars on a monthly basis, and we're actually going to be doing a different series every month. And it won't always be me teaching. So we're going to have different people teaching, me or Chris, or maybe even someone else. So go and book the webinar. You can use your phone and scan this QR code, or you can go to allcontractormarketing.com/webinars. The next one will be in May, and so you can book then. Brian, thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate you attending. And until next time, thanks so much. Bye bye.